Welcome to Seinen Airfield, in Normandy, France. Today, we will take off from this small airfield and experience this beautiful historic part of France. On this discovery flight, we will visit the amazing Mont Saint-Michel, and the Channel Islands, Jersey and Guernsey. Next up will be Phare de Gatteville, Omaha Beach and the city of Caen. From there we will travel to Le Havre, with the beautiful Pont de Normandie at the beginning of the famous river, Seinen. At last we will visit the Etretat Chalk Complex and the city of Rouen, and land in Rouen-Vallee de Seine airport, where we will end our journey. This is a destination travel guide that will teach you about the historic interesting sites, cities and landscapes we will be visiting. You will experience the best places to fly and explore in the beautiful region of Normandy. We will be traveling by air in this twin-engined piston aircraft, the Baron G58 introduced in 1961. Enjoy the flight. The Mont Saint-Michel is a tidal island and mainland commune in Normandy. The commune's position, on an island just a few hundred meters from land, made it accessible at low tide to the many pilgrims to its abbey, but defensible as an incoming tide stranded, drove off, or drowned would-be assailants. The island remained unconquered during the 100 Years' War. A small garrison fended off a full attack by the English in 1433. Louis XI recognized the reverse benefits of its natural defense and turned it into a prison. The abbey was used regularly as a prison during the Ancien regime. Mont Saint-Michel and its bay are on the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites. The Channel Islands are an archipelago in the English Channel, off the French coast of Normandy. They include two crown dependencies, the bailiwick of Jersey, which is the largest of the islands, and the bailiwick of Guernsey, consisting of Guernsey, Alderney, Sark, Herm, and some smaller islands. Channel Islands is a geographical term, not a political unit. The two bailiwicks have been administered separately since the late 13th century. Each has its own independent laws, elections, and representative bodies, although in modern times, politicians from the island's legislatures are in regular contact. Jersey is the largest of the Channel Islands and consists of the main island of Jersey and some surrounding uninhabited islands and rocks. Jersey was part of the Duchy of Normandy, whose dukes became kings of England from 1066. After Normandy was lost by the kings of England in the 13th century, and the ducal title surrendered to France, Jersey remained loyal to the English crown, though it never became part of the Kingdom of England. British cultural influence on the island is evident in its use of English as the main language and pound sterling as its primary currency. Additional British cultural commonalities include driving on the left, access to British television and newspapers, a school curriculum following that of England, and the popularity of British sports, including cricket. Guernsey is the second largest of the Channel Islands. The jurisdiction consists of 10 parishes on the island of Guernsey, 3 other inhabited islands, Herm, Janao and Lihau, and many small islets and rocks. Like Jersey, Guernsey's British cultural influence is present, with English being the main language and so on. There are many more smaller islands, islets, rocks and reefs in Guernsey waters. Combined with a tidal range of 10 meters and fast currents of up to 12 knots, this makes sailing in local waters dangerous. The very large tidal variation provides an environmentally rich intertidal zone around the islands. Some sites have received Ramsar Convention designation, which is an international treaty for the conservation and sustainable use of wetlands. Phare de Gatteville, also known as Point de Barfleur Light, is an active lighthouse near Gatteville-le-Phare at the tip of Barfleur. Strong currents and many shipwrecks at the tip of Barfleur, most famous of which being the White Ship, necessitated building a lighthouse at the location. Omaha, commonly known as Omaha Beach, was the code name for one of the 5 sectors of the Allied invasion of German-occupied France in the Normandy landings on June 6, 1944, during World War II. Omaha is an 8-kilometer-long section of the coast. Landings here were necessary to link the British landings to the east, at Gold, with the American landing to the west, at Omaha Beach, thus providing a continuous lodgment on the Normandy coast of the Bay of the Seine. The German strategy was based on defeating any seaborne assault at the waterline, and the defenses were mainly deployed in strong points along the coast. The Allied plan called for initial assault waves of tanks, infantry, and combat engineer forces to reduce the coastal defenses, but difficulties in navigation caused most of the landing craft to miss their targets throughout the day. The defenses were unexpectedly strong, and inflicted heavy casualties on landing U.S. troops. Caen is a commune in Normandy. The metropolitan area of Caen, in turn, is the second largest in Normandy after that of Rouen. During the Battle of Normandy in the Second World War, Caen was taken back from the Nazis in early July, a month after the Normandy landings. British and Canadian troops had intended to capture the town on D-Day. However, they were held up north of the city until 9 July, when an intense bombing campaign during Operation Charnwood destroyed 70% of the city and killed 2,000 French civilians. Le Havre is situated on the right bank of the estuary of the River Seine. The city and port were founded by King Francis I in 1517. Economic development in the early modern period was hampered by religious wars, conflicts with the English, epidemics, and storms. It was from the end of the 18th century that Le Havre started growing, and the port took off first with the slave trade, then other international trade. The city was devastated during the Second World War in the Battle of Normandy, when 5,000 people were killed and 12,000 homes were totally destroyed. After the 1944 bombings, the firm of Auguste Perret began to rebuild the city in concrete. Modern Le Havre remains deeply influenced by its employment and maritime traditions. Its port is the second largest in France, after that of Marseille, for total traffic, and the largest French container port. In 2005, UNESCO inscribed the central city of Le Havre as a World Heritage Site. Etretat Chalk Complex is known for its chalk cliffs, including 3 natural arches and a pointed formation called the Needle, which rises 70 meters above the sea. These cliffs, and the associated resort beach, attracted artists including Eugène Boudin, Charles Daubigny, Gustave Courbet, and Claude Monet. They were featured prominently in the 1909 Arsène Lupin novel, The Hollow Needle, by Maurice Leblanc. They also feature in the 2014 film Lucy, directed by Luc Besson. The Pont de Normandie, in English, Normandy Bridge, is a cable-stayed road bridge that spans the River Seine, linking Le Havre to Honfleur. The bridge opened on the 20th of January 1995. At that time it was the longest cable-stayed bridge in the world, with its, a little over 2 kilometers, in total length. Despite being a motorway toll bridge, there is a footpath as well as a narrow cycle lane in each direction, allowing pedestrians and cyclists to cross the bridge free of charge. The Seine, which has been mentioned several times on this flight, is a 775-kilometer-long river in northern France. It rises at source Seine, 30 kilometers northwest of Dijon, in northeastern France, flowing through Paris, and into the English Channel at Le Havre. Here are some historical facts about Seine. In March 845, an army of Vikings led by a chieftain named Regin Harris, which is possibly another name for Agner Lothbrok, sailed up the River Seine with siege towers and sacked Paris. According to his will, Napoleon, who died in 1821, wished to be buried on the banks of the Seine. His request was not granted. In 2007, 55 bodies were retrieved from its waters. In February 2008, the body of supermodel turned activist Etretat was found there. Rouen is a city on the River Seine in northern France. It is the capital of the region of Normandy. Formerly one of the largest and most prosperous cities of medieval Europe, the population of the metropolitan area was 666,035 in 2017. Rouen was the seat of the Exchequer of Normandy during the Middle Ages. It was one of the capitals of the Anglo-Norman dynasties, which ruled both England and large parts of modern France from the 11th to the 15th centuries. From the 13th century onwards, the city experienced a remarkable economic boom, thanks in particular to the development of textile factories and river trade. Claimed by both the French and the English during the 100 Years' War, it was on its soil that Joan of Arc was tried and burned alive on the 30th of May 1431. Severely damaged by the wave of bombing in 1944, it nevertheless regained its economic dynamism in the post-war period thanks to its industrial sites and its large seaport, which today is the fifth largest in France. Endowed with the prestige established during the medieval era, and with a long architectural heritage in its historical monuments, Rouen is an important cultural capital. Several renowned establishments are located here, such as the Museum of Fine Arts, the Sectes Tournelle Museum, and Rouen Cathedral.